Hey guys, it's CJ here from Three Black Geeks, and I am here with Eric Roth. How's it going, sir?
It's good. Happy to be here with you.
Cool. Can you actually explain to people what exactly you do? Because it's enough to say you're a composer, but what exactly does your job entail? Exactly.
It's my privilege. Happy to do it. In my bio, I came up with a little phrase that says I'm a composer, conductor, orchestrator, arranger, producer of concerts and recordings. So that's the quick nutshell one. Sometimes I add loudmouth on the end of that too.
So, obviously the big thing for you is Final Fantasy. The music of that series is like iconic throughout all the years and stuff. How did you actually get looped in with Square Enix, Squaresoft, Square Enix, or whatever, in order to do the music?
Well, I guess it goes back to, the truth is that, it goes back to my pop's relationships, right? Arnie Roth's relationships that precede my involvement. So I wasn't working directly full-time with the productions when he started doing like Dear Friends and More Friends and those kind of productions that preceded Distant Worlds. And I had other video game concert production relationships, like, I'm not going to start listing those old things, go down memory lane, but, so I would say the short answer is that really it's like Uematsu-san saw these concert experiences that were happening. He's like, I wish we could do this all over the world. Can we do this all over the world? And my pop was like, yes, we can. We absolutely can.
Wow.
And that's pretty much where I came into the fold, is like, doing orchestrations and arrangements, associate music director stuff, and like that's the start of that.
Obviously saying if you have a fave out of all the music you've done, obviously that's like so much. But if you had to lock down like, I guess any like top three, if you just off the top of your head right now, like that you've done that you really enjoyed. Like,
top three of my charts?
Yes, of your charts.
Oh,
just,
man.
Just off the top of your head, it just comes to mind to you.
Okay, a lot of times when I get asked like this kind of thing, although not necessarily with the top three,
it's easy to say top three.
No,
top five.
I'm with you. It's a usually I bring up the first orchestration I did for the second Distant Worlds record, right? Because the first one is all the Shiro Hamaguchi, like classic orchestrations and stuff like that, which gorgeous.
Yeah.
On the second record, I did the first full one that's really my chart is the Geneva chart. So I often, I look back fondly, and I feel like it holds up. Like it's a lot of my personality in there as an orchestrator and stuff.
Did they give you leeway with in terms of like, I guess, putting your spin on it instead of just like, all right, we're just gonna keep it strictly to just how it usually is?
I think the short answer is yes. Okay. You know what I mean? Like there's just a long way to go between what exists in the video game experience and like acoustic vibrating air molecules, instrumentalists making it happen. So, even when there's like a full MIDI sample orchestration, that lives already, there's still,
Yeah, because you mentioned the whole MIDI. So obviously you're grabbing from that video game sound. Is it kind of hard to kind of translate that to like putting in actual orchestral form and the percussions and all that stuff?
To me, it's like it's really complex. It's like and the different sound palettes from the different eras, right, and different technologies, and you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
They present different kinds of challenges too,
Yeah.
right? So that's part of what's such a beautiful part of this job in a way. You know what I mean? Is these exquisite challenges of trying to retain the identity of this beloved music and still make it feel really good and fresh and sound good and work well for a rehearsal and a performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
obviously as the games have progressed and we've gotten better with technology and every game has come out recently. So is it just way easier for you now? Like, oh, like Final Fantasy 15 is about to drop. Like, is that easier for you now? Like, oh, okay, we can translate that like one for one, pretty much.
Yes and no. I mean, there's sometimes yes, it is like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When Yoko Shimomura has a tune like like Heaven's Word or something, right? And it's like, yeah, I mean this lives. This lives like that. Like why would I want to do anything different? On the other hand, there are things where it's like, okay, well, we're not going to have 3 harps in this orchestra, right? So we're going to make some choices now,
I mean, is it enough for them to like kind of frown on it, or is it just like, well, we understand that you can't translate, like you said, the harps and those kind of instruments into what you're actually playing?
No, I mean, frown on. I mean, that's a little too strong.
Or
You know what I mean? Like,
frown. I guess it's kind of like they have to kind of make that.
No, sometimes there's a little bit of push and pull, like you're talking about. But I mean, it's collaboration. It's right.
Yeah.
That's what we want,
Yeah,
right?
but I mean, because a lot of artists, they are kind of very particular about their work to the degree that, like, I don't know if I want to change it, so I didn't know if it was that much of a push and pull, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, the different composers are a little different, and I would say generally, all the Final Fantasy composers that I've worked with are incredibly generous and collaborative, cooperative, beautiful musicians who, let me say something. It's like these are people who don't come from the live orchestra concert music world in the sense that that's not an experience that they're having all the time with their music, right? Like when they make music, it's when people are experiencing it, it's typically not all together in a hall. You know what I mean?
So on the computer, they're just kind of like just listening to it, and that's it.
Right, and like they have their social connections, and there's a community. I'm not like minimizing that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, like, of course, but it's a very different feeling for Uematsu-san, Soken, Naoshi Mizuta, all these wonderful musicians when they actually like get in there with the community and like feel the vibrations and so there's that spirit of we want to achieve these things when in the pre-production and the production parts of it.
Okay.
Which is why I brought it up.
Got to. How difficult was it to do One Winged Angel? Because I know that's like a big song. Everybody has done versions of it like multiple times.
Well, I mean, there are a couple different versions out there, right? There's the Shiro Hamaguchi, then there's, I mean, doing the reduction for a New World, like trying to do that with a smaller ensemble, that was pretty intimidating,
how did y'all guys get through that whole process? I mean, even with that small ensemble that you had.
I would say that carefully. We got through it carefully because there's a lot of reverence. That's the right word. Reverence for what comes before. What
build up for
what you're the shoulders that you're standing on, and a lot of responsibility in wanting to satisfy our beloved community. So, yeah.
I mean, from the fans' perspective, I guess last question. So, from the fans' perspective, I mean, how much of a good feedback do you get from the actual fans when they actually hear you guys playing these?
I get lots of wonderful feedback, is the way I look at it. I mean, whether it's online or in person or I can't think of another way. I mean, especially here at Otakon and stuff. I mean, outside of typical, oh man, I'm like this. Have you ever asked somebody to say, okay, I like this specific song? Absolutely, definitely.
Different parts of it.
I mean, there's one of the coolest things about our community and people who come to these concerts is that so many of them have such a rich relationship with the music when they show up. You know what I mean? And with that in mind, they have a lot of ideas about what's going down, whether it's about what you did or about what you didn't do, or about the way you're doing it that show, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's a beautiful thing to me. Like, that's a happy thing, is to have that kind of engaged and just like rich experience.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate you talking to us today.
Thank you. It's really my honor to be with you. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Take it easy, and we'll see you guys later.